Jonas Vingegaard is back to winning ways. This was Gran Camiño stage 2, a hilltop finish where he put the competition to the sword. Yesterday's stage got cancelled, if you saw my shorter on Instagram, because it was literally snowing and freezing. So fair enough, they cancelled it. Stage 2 was an uphill finish. Jumbo had paced yesterday, so with this sort of uphill finish, 3K, 7.5% up Monte, Trega, they were likely to do again. And you know I'm not a big views guy. I just like the racing, but I will say the views in this race in Galicia, pretty nice. Might have to venture there myself. Breakaway with most of the Spanish Pro Conti teams and Jumbo-Visma not hiding their ambitions. The Bumblebees on the front again today. New recruit Attila Valter from FDJ, Hungarian champ, sporting the colours. He would be a domestique largely for Jonas in this race. Trinity, though, Max Walker seemed to have a crash, but I wanted to include this to show that, yeah, their kit's pretty funky. It's one of those ones that's actually different in the peloton. They're a Conti team, but one of the cooler kits in the bunch. When the Lighthouse was shown 33Ks to go, or past rather, the break was losing time, and by the penultimate climb when Krooswijk was pacing, they were pretty much reeled in. So all in for Vingegaard. It wasn't the hardest stage before, and also it's pretty good conditions for top performances, actually. Not that hard before. It's the second stage of a stage race. It's cool but not freezing. And yeah, it's a mountaintop finish where everyone's coming in pretty fresh. Cofidis have a good team here. Jon Izagirre, Geschke, Jesus Herrada. Izagirre is really good in these races. Movistar have Ruben Guerrero, who just won Saudi Tour. And yeah, if it had been raining, or if it had been like yesterday for every stage without the snow, Izagirre is not a man to be trifled with in the north of Spain when it's rainy. You saw in Basque podium last year and won a stage when Jonas knows how dangerous Izagirre is. He literally took him out on Arate last year on that climb. But yeah, I got to head down. This village is where they go through before they start the Monte Trega climb. Not a views guy, but it's a nice climb. Now, Stalin admits it, goes to the front immediately. You see him press lap mode or the lap button, and he's on the front pulling for Vingegaard. They're going to launch him as hard as possible on this climb. Now, there's no particular steep point on this climb where it's like 15% for 500 meters or 300 meters like we're used to on northern Spanish climbs or any Spanish climb, frankly, and Cofidis ramp up the pace. But there is a cobbled section. I don't know, they're like big pavers. They're not like nasty cobbles, small ones like we're going to see in Omloop and the Classics this year. But there is that, and it's narrow, so probably Vingegaard wants to be launched before then. And Stalin Mitchell, who came second, I think, in Lavenir last year, Norwegian, all-rounder, but more of a GC climbing prospect, dies 1,000 deaths pulling on the front, stringing it out for Vingegaard. And he has some pretty good pain faces, I must say. So I'm all for this, because should be some pretty good thumbnail action for me if he keeps this up for Vingegaard in the next couple of years. But he's coming to the end of his run, 25 Ks an hour on a 7.5%+ gradient. See the political slogan there, and perhaps Vingegaard's a Zilakami fan and likes the song, and that's why he launched there. Perhaps he just decided it was time to go, but because Valter was on his wheel, and because he dropped a pretty severe burst right there, Izagirre, Cofidis, Movistar, Guerrero, Pedrero, Sosa cannot respond. He's into the moto draft. He wants the views best enjoyed solo. And already this stage is pretty much over. The only question is how much time can he gain and who will be the best of the rest. So similar to Andalusia last week with Pog. The only question, Mas was clearly the second best rider in Andalusia, in my view, in terms of ability and performance. He just had that mechanical on stage one. But yeah, Vingegaard in really good shape. Pedrero and Guerrero don't immediately pace for either one of each other. And so there is a bit of Group 2 syndrome behind. It's actually Langolotti, I'll talk a bit more about in a second, with Vingegaard. I think this is one of his best ever sub 10-minute performances. Technically, like higher level in terms of watts than Monde, but it's a much easier stage before, and Monde is more impressive. Langolotti breaks clear, though. He had a FIFA addiction, he said, on Burgos Biace, the Monegasque rider. He's actually really good. He's been so good the last few weeks. Definitely a rider worthy of being in World Tour. But yeah, sub 10-minute climb, Jonas, it's hard to estimate because they're doing this cobble stuff here and the draft and at 25 kilometers an hour, but he's done mid-sevens watts per kilo. Etalon. You can see it in the article below. Really, really impressive performance. He is in top shape. Don't let this camera angle foreshortening the distance to Langolotti fool you. Thank God he was solo through that narrow part there as he comes onto the pavement. He is in top shape. Paris-Nice, between him and Pog, subscribe down below because it is going to be cracked. I cannot wait. He does these traditional celebration. Guerrero sprints for second. Then it's Izagirre. I think then Pedrero and Prades. So, unfortunately for the other guys, with a TT on stage 4, a hilly TT, GC, barring disaster, and the next 2 stages for Vingegaard is pretty much wrapped up. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Beautiful stage at Gran Camiño. They must be happy that the Tour de France winner has come to the race and put on a show, and I'll see you with maybe stage 3 tomorrow. Ciao.